All right, my friends, here we go. This is the Chess Dojo scoreboard, and we're trying to do some more coaching sessions. We tried this years ago, and it was cool, but we didn't have enough people signing up, and we just didn't get it organized, like a lot of projects we have. Anyways, I wanted to reboot it. Both for myself is something I want to do as a game review class, and also I want to get it rebooted so that other people, other coaches here can start doing their own class. Anyways, so here I have a dojo game review for two cohorts, 11, 1200 and 1200 to 1300. It's going to start Monday. At the moment, we have 2 people signed up. If we don't get 5, we won't do it, so it's a little bit, how are we going to get it going? All right, so here we go, and we are looking at the news feed, and we go view all. And this week, we have very few. Normally, I would say we average about 20 to 30. And when it's a 30 plus, those weeks just kill me. My eyes, dude, they start breaking down. But today we only have 11, so we're going to do it all in one day. Should be a good show. So, sometimes I start at the bottom. Should I start at, or sometimes I start at the top. Let's just go normal. So Keith Thompson here says, I played a few classical games OTB, but I didn't write down the move times. I enjoyed OTB so much that I ended up buying an online connected board in early April, and it definitely feels like I'm doing better. That's amazing. I just posted recently this video we did with Matt Chess about online versus IRL thinking. And one of the interesting things there is if you connected a board and you were able to focus on it as if you were playing OTB, your competitive advantage might over your cohort might be so great that just that alone will get you several hundred points above your the people who might be around your strength. All right, here's Keith Thompson. All right, because my kids pestered me. Nice. I didn't know that Bluey had a thing. Staring at a screen. Staff engineer at Shopify. Okay, cool. Started playing chess on Combat February 4th. This is great, dude. We're going to give Keith Thompson a follow. He's clearly crushing it. Now, we should say you should make it over 400 before you graduate. But, is that close enough? It's pretty close. He's done his tactics, and his tactics are looking good right there. And I really think it's interesting what he's saying about the board. Okay, so is he in some clubs? No. Do we have some games? Boom. We do. 30 plus 10, great. This is OTB. He didn't get the time, so he'll get it next time. Fine. So first, I'll mark this as reviewed, and then we're going to go game review. Boom. Good chess. Good chess. And you give this move a question mark, and you say, I don't really know what I thought I was going to achieve here. Not a good move. Probably should have just gone to D3. Now, honestly, at this level where you are, Keith, as long as you make developing moves here, that's all we care about. Developing moves which don't hang things. So there's nothing, from that perspective, there's nothing wrong with Bishop B5. And nothing wrong with that. Where it's going to get interesting is your opponents will, let's just say, systematically make moves like this, F6, which don't develop. Okay? And what you want to be is you want to be the person who doesn't make those moves. Now, F6 has some motivation because it's stopping 95, which I presume is what he was afraid of. He had a variety of ways to stop that. Accentuating your pin. Your bishop's doing something. It's out. It's doing something. F6, on the other hand, blocks the knight and makes it so there's one more tempo that black needs to castle. So you're doing great. So far, I want to say you're playing near GM moves here. Okay, you're killing it. E5, terrible move. I think he forgot his knight was pinned. But even still, yeah, no. So terrible move. And not only, let's talk about it. Not only is it terrible because it's losing a pawn, but more importantly, now because he's down in time, on tempo, right? You are going to be able to open up an attack to the king. So good. I definitely think you should take with a knight. Let's see why you say you don't like it. Well, you say you should have taken with a knight here. I already had plans in my mind to play queen h5. So I think you mean you would rather have taken with the bishop. I think knight e5 must be correctamundo. It must be correct. Look at this. You're putting pressure on this knight. Oh my gosh. Far Eastern says, I don't think that's enough, boss. At least we got to do other things other than OTB, like discipline. I'm not sure quite what you mean, but I think we're talking about this discussion of having one of these, what do we want to call them? Evo boards, something like that. And Nose, I hear you. By the way, Nose, this class that I'm doing, I'm trying to have all of the people, it's for myself, it's something I want to do, but also for the coaches, I want it to become something where, other coaches can do it. Okay, so knight e5 has to be a good move. Queen e7, and so think details like this knows where, maybe I can make things clearer. Absolutely important. Queen e7, we want to stress this is a terrible move. Not only is it not dealing with this tactical problem, but it's what we call a negative tempo. It's in the way of the bishop. And now you have a variety of ways to win. I think that's got to be the simplest. Knight takes c6. Oh my gosh. Kill. And look, remember you were talking smack about your bishop? Look at that bishop now bows. Look at that bishop now bows. Okay, so here we go. Queen h5. Now you just need to move the queen somewhere. Mistake. And then he makes a mistake. Thank you very much. You say thank you very much. You're doing great. And now you play knight c3. And I want to stress, actually, that this is a great move because at least the spirit of the move is great. We'll talk about whether it is great or not in a second. But the spirit of the move is great because you're developing. Now, one thing we should mention is this guy should think about bishop h6, attacking your queen and your bishop. Now, maybe there's nothing you can do about it. But when we go back, it looks like taking that knight is probably a mistake because of that. Now, I want to stress that's a slightly higher level tactic, okay? So what would be better? Probably a move like, take this guy, play knight c3. So you're doing fine. It's just queen g8. It's setting him up for this bishop h6, in which case you will lose your queen. Now, you have won so much material that I still think you're going to be doing great, okay? Anyways, I like the spirit of this. You're developing. Poor, not developing. And now you talk about queen g6 being better. h3 seems fine to me. I also like the move rook fe1. Good move. Good move. Good move. Oh, very nice move. Oh, baby. There it is, my friend. So Keith Thompson, that was your first over-the-board game. Doing great, man. Doing absolutely great. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Keith, I think we're going to see more of you. You keep this up. These are good annotations. You're thinking for yourself. And let's just say what's appropriate for basically anyone under 1,000. The biggest thing is hanging coconuts. Both sides, both of you hung some coconuts. The next thing is time. Easier not to hang time, especially in the opening. And then third is taking your time, but we didn't have access to that. But as you said, next time you'll write it down. So well done. And let's continue. Next up, we have Brenda Victoria. Let's see what's going on with Brenda. Just joined. 537. Let's give him a follow. Adult Improver Dojo. One of our biggest clubs at 561. Am I part of that club, by the way? Let's go look. Join club. I want to join it. Oh, there we go. I joined the club. Ah, great. All right, Brenda, I just joined your club. Now, Brenda, I assume you just got here. Haven't done any games yet. Understandable. That's okay. You're clearly doing great. You know, I would say a good first step is try to get a tactics rating, but most importantly, annotate some games. All right, here we go. Boom. Next up, we have Adam, who's graduating like every week, Bows. He's just Bows, he says. Now, I do think that is one of the official spellings of Bows. That's what Adam said. This was a hard-fought graduation. Now, Adam, it can't be that hard-fought because I remember these people talking about plateaus who were there for like 2 weeks or something. That's what he's done. Oh, come on now. Took me much longer than the average person in my cohort to graduate. I hit a plateau with a losing streak when I was very close. Been riddled with anxiety and anger about my performance. Kostya gave me a plan, and the dojo community helped me work through my problems, offering to review games and provide advice on the mental game. The dojo plans are great, but the community is really where the dojo shines. Thanks, everyone, and my one request, Jesse, is you bring back the phrase, it's going to be unpleasant for a pheasant. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I understand it, though. When you're just beginning, and he's already graduated before, you could say to yourself, I deserve to, really crush it. And this is what he's talking about. See, this little dip? I think that's what he's calling his plateau. But and look at this. In general, if we just draw a little line, Adam is flying. Doing great work, by the way. Let's just see here. So he's doing pretty good. He's doing like an hour. He's doing sometimes 5 hours, sometimes 4 hours. This is great. And here he's did 9 hours, 7, 8. Great. And you can tell he's playing some. Yeah, dude. I'm into most of these things that he's into too. This is great. I feel like I've been a cyclist and a power lifter. I don't know if I'm really a power lifter, but I do like lifting heavy things. And the cyclist, you just got to be so tiny when you're a cyclist, You got to be so tiny. It's hard. A rower too, though. My gosh. Okay. So, Adam, I would say this. I would say your anxiety is misplaced. Okay? Misplaced. If it takes a little longer next time, it's okay. Look, you graduated. Let's go look. I guess it was, okay, so what he's saying is he graduated in January, and this felt too long. Okay. I understand. My sense is, though, this is just a beautiful looking thing that you got going on here. Yeah. Okay, so we want to, let's go look at activity real quick. He's done all kinds of stuff. Yeah, that looks great. Okay, let's see if we got a game from Adam. We'll get a sense of what's going on. This is a 45 plus 30. by the way, definitely good that you are playing longer time controls than is usual for your cohort. We'll mark this as reviewed. First thing, here's the dreaded time graph. Now, nose. My big head is not arrow. Let me get your feedback, and nose is out here too. So Jack just rolled out this new thing that I think has a lot of potential. Let me just give you my take on it, and then maybe other people can chime in here. So what did Jack do? He's like, we need a human eval bar that can show a graph throughout the game. So for example, if on move 6, Black said he was better, he could use the annotation palette and put himself as being better here. And so, like when I've done my games, I did one game so far using this method, and then it creates a little graph of where we thought the evaluation was throughout the game. Now, from a UI perspective, I think it's a little confusing at first because there is two things going on. One is a time graph, and one is an eval graph, and it's not clear why those two things belong together, right? So if you're just coming here, it just feels like too much information in one graph. That's number one. Number two, I can get rid of it like that. So I can get rid of it. But number two, and maybe this is only for more advanced players because Jack didn't feel what I was saying, is that it would be cooler to have increments between there. So like a sliding scale, not just like small advantage, big advantage, toast. It should be, like let's say I want to begin the game and I want to say I'm up 0.2, which I could just use on a slider. I could just move it up, a little bit. And then if I feel Black made an inaccuracy or something, let's say I'm white, then I go to 0.4. Right? So I want that ability to do increment. Anyways, the new thing, I think it's very promising. Potentially, we could also overlay an engine evaluation on top. So like you could do your own and the engine could tell you kind of what it thought. But okay, there it is. So, Matt Chess says, I love the eval profile. Ask for that feature. Yeah. I think I love it too, and I think we just need to make it a little cleaner. Rohan says, how many puzzles do you think is a good amount to do from the big old Polgar book? I would say all of them made in twos. That would be my suggestion. And if you just look at the Dojo Training Program, we tell you from which cohort, how many you should do, and so forth. Okay, so game review, let's get into this. We just got rated by somebody. Oh, we got a cheer for 100. Thank you very much. Oh, first of all, let's bring it back to the time graph so we look at it and read what Nose says. I agree. Again, this is the eval thing. I agree with you, point one. You want it on a different graph, right? And yes, I think most people these days use engine numbers when evaluating, so that would be the normal way to make a point. I wouldn't want the graph to be using annotations from the PGN, though. I want to annotate the human eval graph separately, okay? Nobody evaluates the positions every move or two in the main lines. They only save that for the end of variations or sidelines, so it's not natural to combine them. All right. Aman says, you seem more like a weightlifter than a cyclist. Well, I used to be a cyclist. I would definitely say that. I'm still somewhat of a cyclist. I love doing it. I mean, I'm not good at weightlifting either. I'm not good at either of them in terms of like elite performance or whatever. But I did used to do some very long rides. I did it. My biggest was a 600K. Oh man, that was a journey. All right, let's bring it back to the game. So here we get into it. Fine so far. Boom. Boom. And you're doing absolutely great. And you say, I contemplated whether I wanted to take or drop back. The mental rule that I forgot is if opponent has knight c3 or bishop b5, then I should take. Well, honestly, you're fine either way because white has not understood what's going on here. Let's just put it this way. When you play c5, you're playing a French down a tempo, okay? If white, however, doesn't punish you, use that extra time to some kind of advantage, which he doesn't here, then you're going to be doing fine. So fine. And now, for example, bishop b5, e6, the move for him to really be doing here is b4, trying to hold on to that pawn. Okay, so he just gives it to you, and you say thank you. And now he is really giving you another tempo. In general, if you can trade off that bad bishop, you're doing great. Now, in this case, though, the bishop pin is so annoying. Why not? You could probably play bishop h5. He should, I don't even know, maybe consider c4 here. That's poor. Thank you. Good move, simple chess. Now, you could have considered queen b6 there too, but you're doing fine. I considered here whether to ask the bishop a question. Yeah, it's fine. I guess castle's fine too. When you think about it, the bishop really doesn't want to take. So I think we should just leave it, castle. Poor move, he should consider d3, more active. Castles, if you wanted to, you could have played bishop takes, knight takes pawn. He's got major grief, though. I don't like that. I don't understand why queen d3 is good either, honestly, because you're just going to play knight g6 and win the coconut. But if he had played cd, maybe he can live for a day. He's not going to live for long, but he could live maybe for a day. So queen d3, you played knight b4, and this is the first move that I don't really like what you did. Just go play knight g6, Bows. Win his coconut, that's it. Game over. Okay. There's somebody playing a terrible song down there. What's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing to me, Bows? What's going on? Wait, I know what's going on. Alexa, off. All right, that was just a humorous aside to myself. My daughter is obsessed with this stupid movie. It's not that bad, but it's called High School Musical. It's very annoying. In any case, I don't know how, but Alexa started just playing it, and I thought it was coming from outside. It was my own business. It was my own business. Okay, here we go. So knight b4, dislocating your good knight. Queen d1 makes no sense. d2 makes sense. Okay. a3, now you're attacking two coconuts. Now you're still obsessed with this, but knight g6 is going to take care of it. h6, knight g6. Good move. You pointed out. Good move. Now he's lost. Thank you very much. That wasn't it. Check to the miserable king. There it is, my friends. Now, I want to get rid of overlay evaluation. Go back to time graph. And the most important thing we can say is your opponent or you were not thinking. Okay, now, is it a good thing that you won this game? Absolutely. But think about these knight g6s that you missed as an example. If you had thought about it, you would have found it a lot sooner, right? So, there it is. Take your time. Remember, the 3 things for the under 1,000 cohorts. Not losing your coconuts, not losing tempi, and using your time on your clock. Okay, well done. Let's continue. Next up, Adam, again, all this fancy stuff you were saying, using the time on the clock is the easiest way to improve. And you know what's going to happen when you use it? It's going to be unpleasant for a peasant. Okay. Here is Eradanus, who's just graduating left and right here. Graduating all the time. Excited to join the dojo. He's loved chess since a kid, though never in a structured way. And there he is, Eradanus. Now, I don't understand. Seems like last year he did a bunch of stuff, and now he hasn't been doing it much, but he's graduated. So maybe he took a break, and now he's back. Okay, let's see what's going on. Clubs, ADHD, okay, activity. ADHD is really in the news. My girlfriend's son has ADHD, and I'll tell you, it's a real thing. I mean, my generation didn't even have all that acronym soup, but it is definitely a real thing. All right, so this looks like pretty good breakdown, Eradanus, but we need, obviously, for you to be doing more over here. Now, I have a feeling these are old games that either I've looked at or they're just old. Yeah. So what should we do, fam? Should we go over this, or should we say this is ancient history? Yeah, this is from September of last year. Okay, Eradanus, this is what I think. I think you should do some work, bud, and put it in here. Put it in here, and you're going to graduate again soon. And then, if you do the work, it'll come. So I don't know what happened. You took that break. And here, these is where you did your last annotations back here. Okay, so let's carry on. Next up, we have Lawrence. And Lawrence says, I didn't track anything this cohort. Goal for the next cohort is to at least track my efforts. Correct. So, here we go. Looking great. Look at the very nice graph. Good tactics rating. Clubs. Dude, everybody's on the ADHD. He's got this e-board thing going on too. Okay, so this was played a little while ago. Maybe he's not logging his business. Now, he did graduate January, looks like. So this is after the last graduation. We'll mark it as reviewed. We'll go over here and we'll give our standard spiel. Too little time used, right? This is a game 60, and neither player used hardly anything. All right. So, all right. Knight F6. Knight D2, D5, E5, Knight E4. Very interesting play, honestly. Queen E2. And that looks like a mistake because of Queen H4. Good move. Now, White's in a little bit of trouble. Thank you very much. Probably forced. Good move. Boom, boom. And now I would say you are winning. Knight GF3, good move. Now, what's White's problem in this game? They're not taking enough time. Bishop F1, that's a sad move to play. C5, nice move. B3, not developing. Okay. Let's develop. Oh, very nice. Simple chess. I would prefer Knight C6. I still want Knight C6. Very good. And now we'll take on E5, boss. Yeah, buddy. Easy chess. Nah. So, you're playing somebody who is not thinking. They're not thinking at all. Now, you weren't thinking either that much. And let's just say a stronger opponent is going to put up more resistance when they're thinking more. All right? Okay, good. Let's continue. Next up, we have Mark. And Mark doesn't tell us anything, but he has done a lot of work. French, live in Metz, but I come from the center of Paris. Very nice. So we have now moved up dramatically in cohorts, by the way. We're all the way up to 1400, where you are allowed to do some opening work. And as you can see, he's doing like a touch of opening work every day. Maybe that's some chessable stuff. I don't know. Now, I think if you're French, this is like a very important thing. You know, you say, I live in Metz, but really, I come from the center of Paris. I'm not one of these local schmokel boys, buddy. I'm the real deal. Okay. Oh, good, Jeffera. That's great, man. So, 1697 tactics, he's crushing. His tactics rating is way up there. And at some point, we can encourage you, Mark, to either do a French rating or maybe to use the FIDE rating as your baseline. As you get stronger, the stronger you get, the more important that will become. Clubs, are you in the French club? There you go. That French club, dude, that needs some more people. The Germans, there's all kinds of nationalities, got way more than the French. Okay, games. All right, good. Now, these are ancient games, though. Now, I have a feeling he's just been doing the opening jam recently. And yeah, it's like we got to go way back. So this is going back to April of last year, Mark. So we want you to do more work over here. So, yeah, Jeffrey, you know, I just finished Alekhine's best games. It was a very enjoyable experience. Nose would probably refer to it as mid. Because he thought that New York 1924 was mid. And I was like, dude, did you read the same book that I did? Buddy. Anyways, it was very enjoyable. And the couple games with Capablanca, obviously there, Alekhine's winning. But incredible. And I think one of the bummers about Capablanca, and I want to read more about this. And when I say read more, I want somebody to do like some actual research in the same way that this dude Hendricks is doing research on Steinitz, Tarash, you know, all these dudes, Nimzovich. And I want somebody to do research because like what it feels like is that Capablanca just wasn't, he's such a talented player, but that he wasn't working. That's what it feels like, especially when he loses the match to Alekhine. Okay. Tangent. Oliver says, second graduation in as many months. I started playing weekly classical OTB. Nice. And I can see how big of a difference it is making. I also had a nice moment in an online game of a very critical position in which I had a mate in two, but was otherwise losing. Spent about 4 minutes before I finally found it. Thank you, Polgar. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, let's go look. Chess. There it is. Graduating pretty consistently here. And has already got a very high ChessCom rating. Okay. And, you know, let's say you played that OTB. Put that OTB up there. Doesn't mean that you can, or link it rather. You don't have to. You can keep this as your preferred if you want, but definitely also put your OTB there. Okay. No clubs. No games, Oliver. Oh, but I was looking forward to it. So I would say keep playing that OTB. Give us some games. You know, you joined fairly recently, so it's understandable you don't have it yet. Okay. So, boop. Next up is Victor Matt. Victor says, one of the reasons I graduated is that the Dojo Training Program taught me to analyze games without the engine. The second and most Okay, let me just rewrite it. One of the reasons I graduated, or got to the next cohort, is because I learned to analyze games without the engine. The second and most important reason is that I learned to analyze my own games far more deeply than before, looking more deeply for alternative moves and plans without the help of engines. And I've begun to leave the materialistic view of the game toward a more dynamic way to play. And I'm glad to learn more of it in the next level cohort, thanks to the senseis. Beautiful. Okay. And I would say it's interesting, like, to talk about dynamic play kind of where you're at, right? So, like, just stealing coconuts will definitely get to where you are. But then, it might be a little alekine, little dynamicism to get it going forward. So here we go. All right. Oh, this is cool. In that he came by this Perpetual Chess podcast, friend of the dojo. Yep. Great. So, he also wrote 2 chess books. Wow, okay. The Chess Tactics Detection Workbook. Beautiful, okay. Hold on. I would be interested in the German one too. But let's just see. I'm just going to Google that one. Oh, there it is, dude. The Chess Tactics Detection Workbook. It's all over the place. Okay, cool. Well, congratulations on the book, Victor. That's great. PhD in economics. All right. Cool. That's great. So here's the David set, the German rating, 1625, crushing. Well, it's 1580, but normalized to the dojo to 1625. It looks like he's doing a lot of tactics and some middle game strategy. Maybe we won't have a game. Let's see here. And it's got a lower tactics rating. Probably just hasn't done any of that stuff yet. So, clubs, German dojo. There we go. As always, I love the German dojo. Let's say you're in Germany. There's people all over the place. But if you created a local dojo, right? In addition to this, you could probably maybe find some people you don't even know about lurking around in your hometown, whether it's Hanover or Erlangen or whatever it is, Okay, let's see if we got some games. Boom. So this is Schlepputz. So let's see. This is looking great. This is a new game. The other one's a little older. Let's click on this one. This is my successful game against a 200 points higher rated player. All right, let's see if we got time first. No time. Mark it as reviewed. Again, if you have, you can write down your times as you're playing. It will help you move slower. And think about what the situation, just briefly, what the situation on the clock is. All right, here we go, game review. Hardly any annotations in the first phase of the opening. I think d5 is a little weird here. You're doing fine. I don't like black's play. Good. I really don't like black's play. Okay, so we definitely have to say that Nadan here is hanging his coconut, and now he's got a lost position. Yeah, bishop d3. Lost not just because he lost the pawn, but because the king is so vulnerable now. Terrible move. Bishop e2. And you write, and now the bishop pair is useless for white. But what black gave is, well, when he can go take this bishop, but he's going to have to spend a tempo protecting that pawn. This guy's about to come. The king is lonely. You're doing great. Beautiful. Rook a2. I like rook b1 better just because I think black should take anyway, and then it'll owe us a tempo on b5. But that's fine what you did. Now you should play bishop e3. f4 is fine. f5. And if you're black, your life is so terrible right now, you might as well play a move like f5. I thought rook takes f5 would be a little more challenging. Good move. That's a hell of a move. Knight c4. Boom. Boom. I mean, you're murdering this guy, that poor king. Now, something like queen d3 or something. b3 is fine. Very nice. Check to the miserable king. Bishop e6. d5. Oh, look at this. Oh, check. Oh, check. Check. Very nice. Now he can do whatever he likes. Check. 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 It's almost mate. Dang. Strong moves. Okay. So, Schleputz. I would say we could do a little bit better with the annotation, right? We could definitely put in more times on the clock. And it would help to think about what's, say, going on here. In general, like this might be playable for black, but it's not. He has to realize when he plays d5 that he's got to find a way for this dude to get out. And if you're going to play a3, you want to at least consider bishop d6 with the idea of dc and e5. This is not good. Good move. You could do a variety of things, but of course that's the key blunder right there, knight d5. Okay, so all right, well done. That was Viktor Schleputz. Now, next up we have Blue Arrow. Blue Arrow says, I would like to say the program so far is amazing. I currently have a lot of free time and decided to put it into chess, and the structure is really nice to make the studying a bit easier. Also, I have been loving the Polgar book. When I started, I thought mate in twos would be a breeze, but oh man, I was wrong. Especially from 1400, I think it's 1471 onward, those things are hard, but also do think they really improved my game. Okay, great. Let's go check out Blue Arrow. I like that name. So, joined fairly recently, very busy, as you can see. Came up to 1600. Looks beautiful. Tactics rating commensurate with that. Okay. Jake says 1471 separates the boys from the men. Did you know Mark Duckworth knows? I feel like that's a dude from even before my generation. I don't know if I played him, honestly. I don't know. I was definitely in several tournaments with that guy. Okay, so only from online videos. Interesting. All right. So Blue Arrow, clubs. Oh, loads of clubs. The Dutch Dojo. The Dutch Dojo needs a little bit more too, man. Yeah. Okay. Let's go see what's going on with Blue Arrow. We got one very recently played, 90 plus 30. Well done on a nice weekly game. Something we'll just say for our American players is the Europeans have got it made in the shade with these weekly games they got. And perfect, you can get a 90-30 going against someone who's at your level. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to check the time. No time given, but as a reminder, you can put that time in. So let's get her started. So far, so good. Poor. This move does prevent my bishop from coming to d3, but it might have been better for him to wait. Okay, good. Right, it's a loss of a tempo, and it allows you at some point to play e4, and then it's going to be a little bit unpleasant. There's no play on the center now. Quick historical note. The old timers, they would have yelled at you real bad for playing c4, okay? In any position. They just thought you were dumb. You played c4. And I just want to say there are some positions where the computer is showing us now you can do it. So it's not always terrible. But here, definitely not correctamundo. Okay, bishop b2, I think queen c2 also makes some sense. b5, you play a3. It's okay. And now you do b4. I don't know. I think what you're doing a little bit is you're overreacting to this demonstration that he's got going on over there. Like, for example, he's not threatening b4 right now. So castling makes sense in this position. At some point, you should say to yourself the old wisdom of, oh, attack on the wing is met by attacking the center, and so very soon we should be thinking of just playing e4 ourselves. Okay. a4, oh no, that wasn't it. Yeah, definitely a poor move. Because now he has no play on the queen side, and you're the one with the juice. You can play knight e5 as you did, which I think is fine. Or you can just play you can probably play e4 now or castles. All of these are fine moves for you. Takes. Good move. Now, one of the things I'll say about this is this DE, first of all, we should acknowledge it's sometimes controversial because you block the bishop. But what it's really doing is it's removing this knight from the defense of the king side. Now, one fascinating thing for black is he should very much consider at some point doing the king walk, the old king walk over here. Now you say, now I think the idea of getting the knight to d4 was correct, but I think I was a bit too hyped about the outpost and rushing this move a little. Yeah, you talk about bishop g3. Honestly, what do I want you to do? I want you to castle, son. We know you need to castle, so just castle. You can figure out the rest later. One of the things, by the way, is at some point I want you to play e4. It's going to make a lot of sense. Okay, but you're still doing fine. Not sure I understand all of these moves. Now f4. So I have some issues with this, especially here, because isn't he messing with your own castling now? Bishop g4 and b8. Now his position's so bad that I still like your position, but I didn't like the way this went down. Notice how much time you took with moves like bishop g3 and knight f3. It's lugubrious. Knight f3, d4, f4. That doesn't do anything. Good move. And I have full respect for that king d2 move. That's a manly move. That's a manly move. You could have castled too, but yeah, this is just a manly thing that you did. Rook af1. Rook af7. Now you do a very weird thing, and you play bishop g1. h2. I guess you're trying to do like here and here. Yeah, so it's very slow. And we have to say that your business has gone so slow that while you're never going to be worse here, well, let's give it a chance. What you do? Well, yeah. This is too slow. This bishop h3 stuff. Now you're trading off all your goodies. Knight a6 makes no sense. He should play knight c6 or something. Check to the miserable king. Ooh, now bishop f4 maybe. You play queen g4. Okay. Notice how what he did to his knight. Absolutely miserable. Good move. Check to the miserable bishop. Notice his queen's completely offside. No one knows what his queen's doing. You say check, and then you go pick him up. That was a nice move. I don't know why he quite resigns here. Couple things to say here. You know how I complain in the under 1,000 section about people losing time? There, it's often the case that they're just not aware of how valuable a tempo is and they just burn it. But there's a lot of moves in here that are similar from both sides. And if you can just get yourself in the habit of not blowing time, then it goes a long way. So burning time, burning time, burning time. I think 95, I'm going to give it a pass, but it's also burning time, burning time, burning time. It's not clear the knight on d4 is any better than on f3. Burning time, burning time. You see what I'm saying? And then bishop h2 was another crime against humanity. Burning time. There were other mistakes in there too, but I just want to stress, like, this is how you can get the advantage over this kind of player, right? They're going to be burning the time. Right, and a lot of times the annotations stop because people get exhausted in the process of annotation. At least that's my take on it. Okay, but congratulations, Blue Arrow. We got a couple great players from the Netherlands in here. And so I'm pumped that you are here. And I like your name. Okay, boom. Next up, we got two, Sarsinus and Grayson. Sarsinus says, I'm taking my chess more seriously, and next academic year I will be taking a sabbatical from teaching. Oh, that sounds great. I will spend approximately 7 hours a week on chess until the summer. This will include one classical game and postmortem, beautiful, plus working on Silman's endgame course. After July, I might be able to double my time spent. Focus on a deeper understanding of endgames, in particular the knight, as I often come unstuck or get surprised by simpler or more complex tactics and maneuver. When I finish those sections, I will continue with the Bulgar mates. Okay, that's a very good plan, Sarsinus. And you're doing great, 1900. That's no chump change. Give me a follow. Now, I think, Sarsinus, it says, has been here forever. So yeah, you can see earlier on, Sarsinus did some work, probably had to teach some miserable children in there. You can see that's the period of miserable children for Sarsinus. And it's just coming back to it now. Okay, so it's got a beautiful FIDE rating as well. And I really want to stress, Sarsinus, that you should think about using your FIDE rating or whatever, I don't know what country you're in, but we're using that one. Let's go look clubs. Maybe that's the Asian dojo. Again, this Asian dojo, it's too confusing for me. We need we need more specifics on Asian. Okay, so let's see, we got some games. This is Sarsinus, played fairly recently with a longer time control. Beautiful. Let's see if we got a clock. Oh, dear. All right, time for the great rant. So as I pointed out in this, I've done several videos on this now. I've done the online versus OTB, and we did several vids on online versus OTB. But what I want to stress is, and this is what the kind of data has pointed out, is even the stronger players like Sarsinus are not using their time when it comes to online chess because they're distracted. Now, that doesn't mean they won't find some good moves, but you can see him and his opponent, they're just basically blitzing it out, even though they got all this time. And I think on a rational level, they understand that this is poor, but I think a lot of times it's easier when you're online just to make a quick decision. So, for example, I can play 3-0 and I not get distracted, but that's because my mind is, it's like a little rat on a little wheel, Yeah. Okay, so we're going to say that's the biggest thing, Sarsinus, right there. All right, mark reviewed, and we'll go game review. So, good move. I did a video about this ages ago when the dojo just started, even before we had the training program. And here, e4 is interesting. I like e3 better, but here we go. Knight f6, e5. Oh my gosh, this is hot. Whew. Now here he says he thought for some minutes. e6. Whew. Here, 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 here. And now very quickly plays knight c3. And he says, play too fast. The idea of going to e4 may not be good, but my analysis of the position was too shallow. And you write, check, queen f7, bishop e2 looked maybe a touch better for white. Maybe, let's say take king e7. I would say black is fine. We're going to take this bad boy. We're going to put this guy here, develop this coconut, find a way to get this guy in. But okay. Here we go. Knight c3. Now, I do agree that you should think longer on it, but I don't necessarily think that it's hard for me to imagine knight c3 is actually a bad move. That's weird. Yeah. Yeah. One of the things actually that shows with this d5 move, which he played too quickly, is that he's terrified of knight e4. Now, maybe he's still okay after d5, but it's really weird to be giving you this square. Okay. Check to the miserable king. I can get behind this. This is objectively a clear mistake, but I awarded a blunder because I played it in 2 seconds. Well, I think this is great. This is, by the way, this is what game analysis is. It's a reflection not just of the moves, but your state of mind when you're playing it. And here what you're doing is you're really coming to an understanding that you were playing too fast. Right, bishop g7 is a good move. He takes prematurely. fg. Thankfully, I slowed down here. I think fg is a beautiful looking move. Check to the miserable queen. Oh, look at that. He spends a minute and is like, screw it, boss. I'm done. I'm done. Oh, Ghastly Vayad. Yeah. This is terrible. e5, opening up the d file and stuff. Thank you very much. He should resign. Okay. Good, Sarsinas. I thought that was a very good annotation. You're going to be playing some stronger players. I strongly recommend playing in the dojo round robin, for example. And, you're going to get some people who are taking their time. I think Nose, he's underrated, but he might be in that cohort. So maybe you run into a Nose, dude. Then you better take your time, buddy. I don't want to play Nose. I don't want to play that guy. All right, well done. Next up, we have Grayson. And Grayson says, I'm happy to graduate and looking forward to the next cohort. I need to be better at tracking my time, though, as I'm struggling to remember to do that. I had hit a plateau before joining the dojo, so it is great to graduate. Absolutely. Congratulations. That, by the way, 1900, 2000, this ain't no chump change over here. This is the real deal. Denver, Colorado. Beautiful. Trying to become a national master. And I would say, Grayson, that you should do a little bit of a mind switch and say, my goal is to become an expert. So that's 2000 USCF, right? And let me just say, you'd be like, Kraai, I want to be more than an expert. That's cool. But let me just stress that I have coached many players from around 1800 to 2000. And some didn't make it. Some didn't make it. But I've had over the years many students. And I will tell you that whether they made it or they didn't make it, that it was a hell of a journey. I can tell. I want to just promise you this is a hell of a journey. And in general, the sad thing to say about it when I look back on it is it was a thing of age. The players who were older had a harder time than the players who were younger. But it wasn't like the players who were older weren't trying. There were some people really, really working for that expert thing. So I just wanted to put it to you that way, because if you make it, you should be like, it's time to celebrate, Bows. It's time to celebrate. We can talk about master. That's great. But it's definitely time to celebrate if you hit expert. Okay. So let's look at what's going on here. We got a great tactics rating. So now we're going to see some clubs. Denver Dojo, great. I think I'm a member. I might be a member of the Denver Dojo. I've played in a lot of tournaments there. I'm on this thread because I went to play the Denver Open a couple times, so they put me on a thread here at the dojo. All right, games. Oh, we got loads. So this is, against Daniel Herman. I've played against that dude. Let's go look at that game, man. All right, yeah, let's go look. I know there's two Hermans. There's the Sarah Herman, I believe, and this kid. I think those are the same people, and they're sisters. But this, oh no, there's no annotations here. Time out. Let's go back. Okay, here we got some annotations. Oh, I wanted to do the Herman game. In any case, maybe you just haven't got to that yet. We'll go game review, see if we got some times here. Oh, we do. Okay, great. Now I think, if I remember right, looking at this, this looks like an OTB situation. Clock times are registered. Let's show it. To me, this shows a difference in level between being a stronger player as well as being OTB, right? This is just what it should look like. Clearly, both players kind of felt like they knew what they were doing up until around here. Some critical decisions came, had to think about it. Yeah. Okay. So, wow, Nordovich just played Daniel. So was it, when you say you played him, was it like some stuff online, or was that something where you played him IRL? All right, boom, boom, boom. Now Grayson is black, so let's switch this up. Fine, 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 fine. You know, back when I was a kid, there was a lot of kids who did this setup, you know, with a knight here and then maybe either D3 or D4. It's probably fine. I think one of the things about it, though, is it's unclear that the knight really is good on E2. It feels nice, though, because it feels like we've got this bishop going on. Queen B3, a weird move to make, which blocks his queenside expansion for the small benefit of a one-move threat. Okay, I think that's well said. And you talk about C6 or knight C6, and I think that's an interesting decision, honestly. I'm not sure which one I would do either. Knight C6 feels a little bit more dynamic, doesn't it? Well, anyways, let's do your move. D4, that's frisky. I mean, you're going to play Queen B3. Yeah. And I like this move a lot, what you do. You just said, screw it. Because C5 doesn't really help him all that much. It's just one check. All right, he goes. And now you have many good moves. You play knight H5. Okay, and let's just stress you have many good moves here. Let's say E4 looks very good, simple and strong. You could follow it up with knight E7. That's a simple way to play. Knight H5 is very frisky. Maybe. I'm going to say, in principle, though, I'm not a huge fan. Okay, so you mentioned that F4, which you call the typical response, doesn't work because this coconut is falling. That makes sense to me. Maybe you could do this. Okay, so rook D1 happens. And you just don't care. You just don't care. Huh. Now, some interesting things happen here. I have to just say that it's not easy for me to say precisely what's happening here. His queen is terrible. We can really say, let's say the obvious, if the queen was here, then white could play f4, and this knight we would say is misplaced. Then you also talk about this interesting move. Now, maybe, I don't really like it though for white, I have to say, but it is true that your knight has a little bit of a question mark about what it's doing with its life. I think this is fine for you though. This pawn on c6 is working against the knight. Lost this key square. Okay, let's give rook d1 a try. I think d5 maybe would also come into consideration. You just blast him, and that's fun. That's just fun what you're doing. Oh man. Let's just pause for a second here. I just want to look at one more thing. Let's say we take. How do you want to take back? I would say pawn takes is natural. Isn't this kind of hassly though? Is that a word, hassly? I feel like that's a little hassly. Knight h5, I don't know. I like that you thought about it, but I'm not thrilled with knight h5. It feels like you have a great idea and your opponent falls for it. But yeah, I don't like it. This is exactly what you want to do. You can get f4 in like this, you should, and he's in a little trouble here for sure. All right, e takes. E takes. And now we get this fascinating business. With the point that if he takes here, you're going to take here. Well, this is very fun. Now he takes here, but that's definitely admitting that the milk has gone bad. All right, queen h4. By the way, look at his, will you please, my friends, look at the time spent. He thought well and hard about queen h4. He thought about f4. This is good chess. All right, so he thinks about knight takes d4 here, which I think is insane. I think queen h4 makes a lot of sense. All right, here we go. Boom. I think that's a good move. It's hard for me to believe that could be wrong. Knight e4. And now you think for 11 minutes and play bishop h6, which definitely does not look right because the bishop has certainly its purpose on g7. Now, you talk about king h8, bishop g4. And we could also say bishop h3 directly. The point of, okay, so let me just say, it looks weird not to play bishop g4. But the point of bishop h3 is, if I'm worried about anything in this position, it's like, can dude actually get away with this? Now, I'm not sure he can, but I'm just saying if the pawn's not on f3, I always get this dirty check in. And I think that's a hassle in the castle. I think. I mean, we still have to look at, maybe he's surviving this way. No puedo survivo. I take here. I'm going to waste this fool, right? Okay, so that would be one of the reasons, just by the way, just to be like, you don't need to win the pawn on f4 back immediately. You need to develop your coconuts and get rid of this guy. So just intuitively, it's either this and then this, or just bishop h3. All right, here we go. Bishop h6. He needs a good move. What does he do? C5 check to the miserable king. And he's trying to hurt you here. That makes sense. I think that this was what turned the tide of the game. In my opinion, this move was a bit too optimistic, and now I can increase the pressure against the king. Uh-oh, he's right. I just nose points out. Bishop h3, no puedo bows. Come on, Kraai. Get it together, buddy. Get it together. So yeah, bishop g4 first then. Okay, sorry about that. I blunder sometimes too. In which case, the analysis should be continued here because he can take on b7. And it's not... Okay, we got to go all the way back because now he can take on b7 and I'm not sure what's happening. So let's just pause for a momentito because your position does look amazing. We just need a moment. Well, that makes life harder. Here's a basic move. We could play bishop f5 with the thought that queen b7 runs into snip, snop, and check. And then he's got this little problem. That might be more reasonable. Basically, what do I want? I want to bring my coconuts in. You know, bring everybody to the party. Good times. Good times. Okay. Thank you, Nose. I missed it. All right, so this all went down. Now, annotation thing here. You should tell us what you think white should have done, right? Yeah. What do you think he should have done if it isn't knight takes d6? That's an interesting question. Okay, bishop d2, queen c3, knight eg3. All of these moves come to mind. Good move. Good move. Good move, simple chess. And now the knight's misplaced. Good move. Don't do it. Oh, I thought he was going to play knight f6. Check to the miserable everything. Thank you very much. Good move. That's not doing anything. Check to the miserable queen. Thank you very much. It's time to resign. Okay, beautiful. Well done. Okay, that was a good graduation show. And I need to do a couple things myself.